Well, welcome. One moment, please. Mmm. Welcome to the Champagne Ministry, where we get lit, talk shit, and feel the spirit. Spiritual conversations over libations. I'm Reverend Rose, and bitch, it's time that we slay and then pray. I am so glad that you have joined us today. So I'd like to begin and let everyone come in, the congregation, come on in to the sanctuary. Please find a comfortable seat and a comfortable space and make sure that you have your libation. Today's topic is whiteness and wine. So the directive is that you are supposed to have your wine. Now, if you don't drink wine, that's just fine. Put something else in your glass. I don't care if it's sassafras, but you have to have something to be able to do our random toast. So, I welcome you. Now, as we wait for everyone to join, because it takes a couple of minutes, as you come in, I would like you, when you find your place in the sanctuary, members of the congregation, please type your name in the comment and let us know, what libation are you enjoying? I want to be able to recognize the members of the congregation. I see Tiffany, I see Taylor, and I see Richard. I'm so glad that you have joined us today. So if you are just tuning in, I want to say welcome to the Champagne Ministry. Cheers. So at the Champagne Ministry, we do a couple of things. We get lit, we talk shit, and we most certainly feel the spirit. It's spiritual conversations over libations. My name is Reverend Rose, and bitch, it's time that we slay and then pray. Thank you so much for joining us. As you come into the sanctuary, please type your name into the comments and let us know what you are enjoying for your libation. I see OG is ready to get lit and feel the spirit. Where's your drink, OG? I see Taylor is enjoying a fine IPA. Someone said something with mint. I missed it. Oh no. And someone said something about, is it bourbon? I love it. Red wine, Jessica. Yes, the congregation has joined us and they have their libations. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, so I was kind of just buying time to let the congregation enter the sanctuary. So now that you are here, I want to thank you. I see little pineapple having water, which is the healthier choice, I admit. Jesus turned water into wine, so I'm just drinking the after effect of the water. You know what I'm saying? Okay, thank you. All right, so mezcal, wonderful. So today's subject is whiteness and wine, and I want to kind of define whiteness when we're discussing that to give us a little bit of an idea so that we're all on the same page. Now, what is whiteness? I'm going to hit you with a little definition, right? So the study of whiteness, right? It's the study of the structures that produce white privilege. The examination of what whiteness is when analyzed as a race, a culture, and a source of systematic racism. It's also the exploration of other social phenomena generated by societal compositions, perceptions, and group behaviors of white people. We aren't attacking anyone. We are not addressing individual white brothers and sisters. We are discussing a phenomena. We are discussing a power structure that has created race. If you think about it, there is no such thing as the white race, really, in terms of nationality. There's no white language. There's no country called white. It is truly a creation to be able to exclude certain people from power and privilege and resources while allowing another group to be able to enjoy all of the advantages that come with disenfranchising another group. And I think that as a country, we've decided that it's time that we end the subjugation of people of color and we end the domination of white supremacy. It's simply based on a falsehood that we are all separate, or that something as insignificant as the amount of melanin in skin actually creates a difference between us. It's ridiculous when you think about it. But hey, we're here. This is where we are in this world, in this country, so let's go ahead and get into it. I am going to start us off with Get Lit. That's always the first section. We always in Get Lit, we discuss something that excites us or gets us lit about the I'm going to welcome is Miss Nicole Simon Cooks. I actually first learned about whiteness in school with her at Pomona College with Professor Phyllis Jackson. So it's only right that I invite Miss Nicole Simon Cooks here. How are you, Nicole?
I'm doing well, Reverend Rose. How are you?
Oh, wonderful, Sister Sangria. Yes.
Yeah, I have Rose here.
Yeah, we both have Rose.
Ting ting.
I am so glad that you are here. So in the Get Lit, there's 3 sections: Get Lit, Talk Shit, Feel the Spirit. In Get Lit, we talk about what gets us lit, excited, perhaps something positive about the issue. In Talk Shit, we're going to criticize and engage in some cultural criticism, because if you love something, you tell the truth about it. And in Feel the Spirit, that's where we get down to the spiritual lesson, because at the end of the day, everything we go through is spiritual, is it not?
It is.
Right? I mean, we are emanations of the Most High God, whatever you call it, if you call it anything, if you believe it all. But we are emanations of spirit. So everything we go through and to has to relate to us and the spirit that gives us life. So we're always going to end it with a spiritual lesson. All right. So thank you for joining us, everyone. I see you, Denitra. I see you, Elise. We're so glad you join the congregation. And if you don't know, if you're part of this congregation, you're supposed to have a libation. Now, it doesn't have to be wine. That's okay if it's not. Fill your glass with some sassafras or something else. I don't care what it is, but you have to be able to make a toast, because we're going to stay doing the most. All right. Now, Nicole, first of all, tell the people, where are you from and where do you live?
My name is Nicole Simon Cooks. I'm from Linwood, California. Whoop, whoop, my home roots. I'm a wife, a mother, a sister, a daughter, and an administrative analytics and budget manager with a government agency. So I'm all about numbers, metrics, data, looking at the root cause and looking at that information and data and trends to see what's really going on in society.
Well, we're going to need you to get some data and trends on what's going on in this society, because we need some help, okay? So my second question for you. Well, actually, you already answered it. I said, where are you from? And then you already told me what you do. So, boom, you're already on top of it. Mm-hmm. I want to find out from you, Nicole, name something that gets you lit when it comes to the issue of whiteness or white supremacy or related issue. Go ahead and share with us what gets you lit.
Nothing in particular gets me lit about that topic per se, but what I am grateful for and happy for and what I'm lit for is that the mainstream media is now talking about the subject of whiteness. Before, it was always discussed in academia, in closed settings, in Black groups per se, but not really in mainstream media and the mainstream lexicon. And so now that we're talking about whiteness in corporations, in boardrooms, in meeting settings all over the place, in pop culture, in music, it's really now part of the dialogue. And people can't hide behind the veneer of racism as a systemic issue, but really whiteness and how they've benefited from the privilege of whiteness. Okay. And so when we think about the police department and their inflictions of of violence and unjustifiable killings and murder of Black people, the root cause of the police department is from, you know, slavery. The police department derived from a law enforcement to first keep, you know, slaves and free Black people in line. And it continued on into this current climate where now there are communities like my own that are over policed and that we're harassed daily by the police. And so it's still resonant in our communities. And so when we now talk about whiteness, it's not just about, oh, you know, this racist system that, you know, I don't have anything to do with, but now, no, you benefit and you receive privilege from whiteness. And so the CEO for my company, he recently sent out a message, and he talked about, you know, his white privilege and how growing up he didn't understand why certain minority groups had certain agencies that helped them, youth groups and so forth. But he understood growing up as an adult now why that was an issue, because of systemic racism and injustice in our society. And so when a CEO puts out a public address, his own opinion, not the opinions of the company, but puts that out in a corporate setting, we've come a long way, even though it only took 400 years. You know, it only took 400 years to get to this point, but
That's all.
that's all. You know, but we have come a long way since the incident with the murder of George Floyd. You know, we've come a long way since then. And so I think that the conversation is progressing at an appropriate pace. If not, you know, we need to get the quickness on the changing laws and policies. But I'm excited that now this discussion of whiteness is happening, because people have to take personal accountability for how they, you know, benefit from their privilege and how it inflicts. Because when you think about police, white people's safety is based on the detriment of Black people and our unsafety, an unsafe environment for ourselves. And so for white people to feel safe, their privilege as far as whiteness is contingent upon us being disenfranchised or an unsafe environment for ourselves to keep us in line. So that is now part of the mainstream discussion, and that's what I'm excited for. That's what I can get lit to.
I can get lit to that, sis. I so agree with literally every single thing you said. And you said something about white people's safety operates in detriment to the detriment of Black people, which is
Right.
exactly it. We've been seeing Karens being recorded, the Karen being recorded all over.
Right.
And it's so interesting that as a white woman, she knows inherently that law enforcement is going to back her up and be on her side. Now, did she get some kind of obvious message of that? Is there a memo going around that we don't get? No, it is ingrained within the culture. So when she is able to stand up and say, I'm going to call the police.
I'm going to assert my whiteness.
She knows that they're going to show up in service and protection to white supremacy every time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I am glad also that this is now becoming part of the mainstream discussion. Now, you recently attended a march, I believe.
Yes.
What was your experience? What got you lit about that march, if anything?
Oh, it was lit because there was such a diverse group of people there at LA City Hall. This was last weekend. I mean, the crowd was significant. There were so many people. There were a lot of white people there. And they were there because they could have been anywhere else. You know, in church, you could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here. They chose to be there. And because they recognize that they do have a privilege that needs to be disbanded. And I appreciate that. I did feel the love. People were giving away free snacks, free beverages, just to make sure that everyone was comfortable as we protested against a system that has disenfranchised Black people for hundreds of years. And so I welcomed them. I was glad that we were standing arm in arm together. I look forward to that continuous movement and that synergy that is now kind of reinvigorating the continuous civil rights movement, because it never stopped. It never stopped. It's just a continuum. And so I think there's a resurgence, and white people are now realizing that and are taking accountability and are participating in the movement. And I appreciated that, and seeing that at the protest. It was very evident there that we were there in solidarity. You could tell that they were very young. There were a lot of young people there, but they were there because they wanted to, and they understood that the things that were going on were wrong, and they wanted to make a change. So I appreciated that.
That's so beautiful. I have not actually physically been out to a protest, but when I see the rainbow of colors and all the white people joining in, it gives me such a feeling of joy and warmth in my heart because it resonates with the truth. The truth is, we're all made of the same stuff.
Right.
We are all, race is really a made up concept. There are all
It
different
is.
types of flowers in the garden. Some are blue, purple, or violet, or fuchsia, or red, or yellow, or white, right? But they're all flowers, right? So like the color, like it doesn't matter. That is not like
we're all the same.
We're all the same. So it reminds me when I see that solidarity, it just sparks this feeling of warmth in me.
Yes.
Because it operates with the truth of what we all are, which is we are all one. And to see them rebuke that privilege, to see them rebuke that system, really sparks some joy in me. So I'm really, what my Get Lit was, literally, how are you going to take my Get Lit? Really? Okay. I see you, Lauren. Thank you in the comments. So mine is, I saw a quote, I think it was in the LA Times, don't quote me. It said something like, white people are losing the luxury of non-self-awareness. Stop laughing right now, Nick, my brother, I see you. White people are now losing the luxury of non-self-awareness. Here's the thing. They haven't had to be aware of race. They could say, don't make it about race, or I'm colorblind. I don't see it.
What's happening?
Or why do you make everything about race? Or let's just move on. Slavery was a really long time ago. So now they're because we have marched and really put so much effort on social media and raised so much awareness that now they are losing the privilege of being ignorant to their own benefit in this system. And while that's painful, okay, and I understand that, right? That's a beautiful thing. Because Black people, we've had to be hyper aware. When you see the police pull up, when your brother or sister or son or daughter are going out for the night, they're 17 or 18 years old, just able to drive, and you have to have that talk to them about what happens if a police officer stops you. When you recognize that you're a Black person going into a job interview and you realize, let me change my diction, let me put on my white
your hands visible on the dash
than everybody else, I have to be 10 times better. We went to college together. We know, Black people have to be hyper aware of who we are, who we're around, how we appear,
what we say,
what we say, if we're threatening.
Having to keep our cool in extreme conditions, post-traumatic stress, having to deal with confrontations that are unwarranted, being, questioned about people who have no right to question grown adults. Where I am and what I do has nothing to do with you. How dare you question any adult, Black man or Black woman, about what they're doing?
If they have the right to be in this apartment building, if they have the right to be in this gym, I mean, it's astonishing the level of superiority that you believe that you have. But honey, it is based on a false truth of difference between us, which is propping you up. But guess what? It's not real. And it's coming crumbling down. And so the fact that they're losing that ability to be able to hang on that, and they're stepping into self-awareness, is one of the most beautiful things. I agree with you, sis. And that's something that we should totally get lit about. We should encourage it, come together. And if we come together, there's literally nothing we can't do. If we all come together, in unison,
stay on their necks, continue to discuss, because now that the discussion of whiteness is out there, continue to talk about it, because now they have to take personal accountability, and that they cannot stand on that privilege. That, like you said, the luxury of the privilege is waning, and so that has to be dispelled in every opportunity. And those that are our allies have to speak out to their family members and to their loved ones about doing the same. To speak up, not just stand quiet. And be sincere. Those messages from celebrities with the teleprompters and the music and all of that, no. I want sincerity. Speak from the heart. But once you speak from the heart, then we can talk. Let's continue to talk. Let's continue and let's change policy. Let's change policy, and let's have more diversity, inclusion in businesses and corporations. That's Not just talk about it, put action behind it.
Right. Right. I love that statement you put out, Nike, or I'm not calling it Nike, any company, you put out a statement, but I want to see, what does your board of directors look like? What your employees look like? Are you paying living wage? Like, I need to see, where's the policy change, right? Because without the strategy and the policy, it's lip service, right? Nicole Simon, I first learned about white privilege and whiteness at Pomona College,
right.
Professor Phyllis Jackson's class, sitting next to you, and she was famous for making white girls cry. Because every time in class, I don't know why they would cry. She would confront all of us. They would always break down crying. We're like, why are you crying? Because they didn't have to deal with being questioned directly about whiteness. So it literally scared the shit out of them. And we would sit there like, why are you crying though? We're hyper aware of this. We've been thinking about this our whole life. Like, this is not new to us, this issue of race. They've been able to live with these blinders on, but they're coming off, Nicole, and it's a beautiful thing. I just want to thank you, my sister, for joining us. Will you please come back?
Of course. Thank you for having me. I love you. Thank you.
I love you too. Can we take a toast real quick?
Cheers.
Cheers to awareness.
To awareness.
To awareness. That's not a very good. Just to awareness.
Dispelling injustice and dismantling the hierarchy of race. Dispelling the hierarchy of race and dampening. Let's stomp on whiteness. Let's stomp on not white people. Not white people. The concept of whiteness and the hierarchy in society. That's what I want to stomp out. That's what I want to dispel.
That's right. We don't stomp on people. We stomp on ideology.
It's all in love. We love everyone, but you just want to live together. We're all we're racist waste. We're all one people. That's what we are. Just one love, one people, and that's
one love, sis. Love you so much. Thank you.
Love you too.
Thank you. Right. So wait, actually, before you go, the congregation. I see Taylor Tosh. I see Nick. Congregation, tell me, do you agree with what we just said? Both of us basically said that what gets us excited is that white people are becoming aware. Nick just said, love my white brethren.
Yes, love them.
I see Lauren, he's sending the hearts in the red, green, and black, right? Who else? Somebody else in the comments, let me know, do you agree with what we said? Jessica said yes. Mommy, Danny Gale, Mary Kitty says amen. Beautiful. Tiffany is giving us a shot. Thank you. All right, so we are going to move on. Nicole, we're going to see you again soon.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I have so many memories with Nicole at Pomona College. I had never heard of whiteness. I had always thought, oh, it's racism. But racism kind of indicates that it's races fighting each other for power or resources. But that's not what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a system of white supremacy, white superiority over the races. White being on top, black being on bottom, and the rest of the different shades of brown being somewhere in between. And it's not based on opinion, it's based on fact, okay? So thank you everyone for joining us. We have more people who have joined us now, and if you're just joining us, let me say hello to you. You didn't get the welcome, well, let me give it to you. Welcome to the Champagne Ministry, where we get lit, we talk shit, and we feel the spirit. It's spiritual conversations over libations. I am Reverend Rose, and it's just time that we slay, and then we pray. All right. So we already did the get lit section. That's what gets us excited. But now it's time to talk shit. Like, you also got to talk a little shit. That's our cultural criticism of whiteness. And I'm going to invite in my dear friend, Aja Whitney, to talk about it, because she is a queen and she is ready to talk some shit. Well, hello there, Aja.
Peace and blessings. How are you?
Blessings. I knew you was gonna have some plants behind you. How are you?
I'm blessed. You know, I don't know how equipped I am to talk shit. I've tried not to do that, but I am here to spit, you know, some truth, at least how I see it. So I appreciate you.
You know what? You speak what is on your mind. If it doesn't fit into the little categories, guess what? Fucking categories, okay? Because you are brilliant, so just let us have it. we want to know from you, Aja. Actually, where are you from and where do you live?
As you can see, right, I'm from the mountains and the desert, a little bit of Saturn in there. Uh, but definitely here on Earth for a purpose. What was your other question? Where am I from?
You said you was from Saturn.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to know, find out? She's on another level. I have some friends that are on like other levels. It's how strange it is, but it's true
What's important is I'm here right now with you, right?
hello. But no, I love you, and yeah, you're on another level that I love, and I love when you take me there. So, Miss Saturn, what do you do?
What do I do? I've been in education for a minute. I'm a mom. I'm a new entrepreneur. Have a Pan-African holistic health practice in which I integrate comedic yoga, energy work, plant limpias, body work into, coming to a state of balance and of wholeness, and ultimately, help to facilitate people to heal themselves, which means to get back to the core essence of who they are, in alignment with spirit, connected with their purpose, and that's my purpose.
Beautiful. Now, I always have to be a little bit inappropriate. You also do some work on with the yoni thing too. Do you do that?
Girl, how you know I just steam my womb, right? No, you can sense it. Is it radiating off me? Is that what it
is? if you need your womb steamed,
I do womb steams, do womb massage, clearings. There's so much trauma that's held in the womb. That is one of the symptoms of, a system of whiteness, a system that privileges its own values. And when those values are in such disharmony with the natural order of things, it takes a toll on the bodies of the very people that it subjugates, so energetically, also physically, women's bodies, especially Black women's bodies, Indigenous women's bodies, Latina women's bodies, that those are the sites of white, privilege, and also of white terror. So we're seeing that unfold. We've experienced it. We've lived it. And I really resonated with everything that you and Nicole were saying, just regarding how the veil is being lifted, whether you want to see it or not. It's being ripped off. Our masks are coming off. It's a beautiful time to be alive.
Beautiful time to be alive. Yes, there some people, I catch myself saying 2020 is the worst year ever. I hate it here. I want to get out. Like I do get caught up in that sometimes because it feels good just to be negative sometimes. But the truth is, is that I am glad to be here, to be alive, to experience the good, the bad, the ugly. But at the end of the day, my world, my mentality, what I believe, who I surround myself with, that's all up to me. And it can be a beautiful life still in the midst of struggle. And I would argue that it is a beautiful life still in the midst of struggle. So I want to ask you for this talk shit session. Just let me have it. What is your thought for the talk shit?
You know what? The shitty thing about whiteness is how insidious it is. It's not, like you said, just about white people. It's about a system of values that at its very basis is disconnected with the natural order of things. Like a man-made virus, it has us all running around here, thinking we're asymptomatic, all the while we're spreading it, because we're all in this fishbowl, right? And I guess my talk shit is not really directed towards white people who do have the privilege of whiteness, but of my people who maybe don't understand how insidious the symptoms and the structures of whiteness are. It is pretty much like every single one of our institutions is built on the bones of this value system. And those systems, we see the external systems as they're coming down around us, but we don't really often take the time to look at how we've internalized those values in ourselves. So that's, we really have been taught from a very young age, no matter what race, no matter how conscious our parents are, they can't control everything. And the message that the prevailing message through not just society, but through the decimation of indigenous spirituality, through seeing God's self as something that's other, through disconnection with nature, the natural rhythm of things, all of those things have taught us that whiteness in the system of values is the default for human and the default for humanity. And that is something that I believe people are so steeped in that a lot of times we don't even see that in ourselves. So individualism is not a traditional human value, right? Rigid hierarchy is not a traditional human value. Dichotomous thinking is not a traditional human value. Worship of fear is not a traditional human value. Bloodlust is not a traditional human value. These are not core human values, but I think sometimes as people of color, we are so busy living the trauma, wrapped up in the trauma, that we don't even have a breath to sit down and look at how we have internalized that same trauma or replicate it. Because even if you look at a global level, in spite of everything, we still are in the belly of a beast. We still are Babylonians in that sense. And we still do replicate those same hierarchical notions on other countries. And we are complicit in that way. It boils down to how we view ourselves and also how we do our relationships. It's just so many different levels. And so for me, if I were to talk shit about whiteness, it would be that it is so insidious that it is going to take an actual revolution and spiritual warfare, which we're also seeing now, in order for it to be completely dismantled.
Yeah. Wow and wow. You just hit me with so much wisdom, and the comments are going off. People are literally I mean, you just covered so much. You said that to win this war, it's gonna take some spiritual warfare. You said that whiteness is so insidious. It's considered so much part of the norm that we accept that it's almost invisible, right? It's like a fish in water. You don't even see the whiteness around you because that's what you breathe, because that's what you've been told. Every fairy tale you saw when you were growing up was a white girl with blonde hair, was a Cinderella. Every love story you watched from, was, Julia Roberts, you know what I mean? Was the love object. Every TV show, white culture is so embedded in our view of the world, and the fact that we're not included in it is so embedded in the way that we think about it. What is the first step, or one step, that we can take internally, spiritually, to begin to combat the whiteness that is so pervasive? I mean, for really quickly, Baby Buzz just reminded me, for example, all of the default emojis are white people. When it says a nude skin color underwear or stocking or makeup, it is not brown. Nude means nude for white people, right? So all of these things we don't even think about, but they're really so ingrained with us. What's something that you recommend that will allow us to become at least aware or begin to start dismantling? I mean, it feels so big. Give me one.
I mean, I think it's already happening. People are already waking up, and also that's why the external system is responding so passionately, and if we look at Black people, Black bodies as the thing, Black history, right, as America's shadow aspect. And when I say shadow aspect, I mean the very thing that America denies, the sacrificial lamb, the thing that it projects all of its fears, but all of its desires as well. That's the other aspect of it. Even the idea of, Black people as magic is a very dangerous trope, So if we look at, Black people as whiteness's shadow, if when I look from my perspective, like the most anti-racist, liberatory people that I know are the ones that consistently and with a vengeance, look into their own shadow, confront their own shadow, time and time and time and time again, every single time it comes up. And that's on a personal level. And that's how you can shift, like a drop of water, going into a pond. That's how you can shift frequencies by just doing your own personal work.
Yeah.
Because what we're seeing now, all of the values of whiteness are pretty much suicidal. I mean, everything from the decimation of the earth to, crazy exploration, creating all of these artificial substances. It is a symptom of a suicidal tendency. But at the same time, if we are all one people, then what happened to that culture, right? That almost like redheaded stepchild that was so distanced from everyone else that they grew a value system based upon fear and based upon the fear of their own decimation and their own death. And like, that's the other part of it. For us, it's almost like our shadow is white. And in that, it's like that whiteness represents fear of death, and all death is transformation. So everybody that's feeling this resistance right now, everyone that is feeling, this fear, face it. It's a call to face that fear within yourself, because on the other side of death, it's like our grandma told us, 3 deaths and a birth. Okay, so we are the harbingers, we are the midwives right now of the birth that's coming in. So what we need to do is consistently go back, instead of it, watch the bone structures of this system fall, but we also need to go back and nurture our own bone marrow. And for me, that's always recognizing and coming back to the interconnectivity of all things. African spirituality, indigenous spiritualities, it's almost like everything that we've been taught, do the opposite, right? So, but what we're seeing right now is this spiritual war, and it's a call. And so I just think that, consistently confronting your own shadow and answering that call, and just this, like, connecting, that sense of connection, because that is one thing that the system, it's a divide and conquer mechanism. And that's how whiteness constructs itself, by divide and conquer.
My God. Wow. So one of the things you said is one way that you can spiritually combat the pervasiveness of white supremacy is everything that you've been taught, you do the opposite. So one of the things that we're taught in the United States of America is rugged individualism. Like I did it on my own. I pulled myself up by my bootstraps. I don't need anyone else, right? This idea that I alone can do what I need to do and I don't need others, and I'm isolated, and the strength of being able to do something without the help of your neighbor, without being in connection to someone else. And that's what makes you strong. And I see, like what you're saying, do the opposite. The opposite is true in African spiritual traditions. It takes a village. We all come together to help each other, to love each other, to be one with one another, rather than the Western thought of, I do it on my own, and that's where I get my pride from. Our pride is in connection, not in rejection, okay?
Okay. That's to that. Right?
I'm so used to you laughing at me.
Right. Oh, I love it. I love it. You know what? Just one more note. I think the thing too is just about balance. That again, on the other side of fear is love, but you cannot you can't over love either. You know what I mean? You have a healthy ego. You have a healthy balance of fear, right? Same thing with, just being completely, interconnected. Then you do lose that sense of self. You know what I mean? And you start to not know your boundaries. So I think that at the seat of it all is divine balance, and you can't have that sense of balance. You don't have that internal compass unless you have integrated that part of yourself that you have rejected, and that is that shadow aspect.
Wow. Integrate your shadow. That dark side of you. It's not simply about rejecting it. It is integrating it into you so that you are a balance of both sides, which helps you in every situation to navigate and understand the truth.
Yes.
How beautiful. Coco Nicole says, spiritual warfare indeed. Stay armed, but you arm yourself with love and with truth. That's right. Ganny Gale, Mary Chitty says, yes. Nicole, that's not Nicole, that's Janelle. But
I love you
I
too.
saw you said hi, Janelle, earlier. Congregation, what do you say? This is all about the congregation right now. We just hit a lot of different subjects. I want to hear what you think, congregation, about what Janelle and I just said. Janelle was talking, I'm telling you Janelle, but really it's Aja is her true first name.
I have many names, so it's okay. I answer to all of them most of the time.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I want to thank you. You dropped so many gems so flawless. Doesn't she do it flawlessly, everybody? Like, she just drops through just left and right. Like, it's nothing. You are so amazing. You went to Pomona College along with me, and I was with
The
you
Ivory
and
Tower, right?
the Ivory Tower, and that's where I learned about white supremacy and whiteness and all of that. And it was with both of you, and our minds were expanded all together. The three of us, the three musketeers, holding it down in a very difficult time, but a beautiful time. So Coco Nicosa, fabulous, flawless women with beautiful names. Jessica sending love. We
Yeah.
appreciate you so much, Aja. You are just a beacon of just, what do I want to call it? It's intelligence. It's intelligence and intuition and just fucking wisdom. Where you get it from? We about the same age. Why you so wise? Why you gotta be so
My love,
wise?
I am just so grateful for you always holding us up, for giving us this forum, for giving us this voice. Like, this is so important. It cannot be understated. And I would not be me without you. So I love you.
I love you so much. Thank you. Can you please come back?
Of course,
All right.
anytime.
Thank you. Love you. Thank
I
you.
gotta find some other bush to get in front of.
Girl, you better find another bush. You running out of bushes, Heifer. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, wow. I mean, guys, was this like, I mean, what you're getting here, you're not going to see in no CNN. You're not going to see on like a regular blog or cutesy show, but we got the cutesy, we got the fun, we got the wisdom, the spirituality, and we got the foolishness. Coco Nicole, thank you so much. Jessica, yes. Amanda Torres, thank you. Lauren, appreciate your comments and emojis and whatnot. Appreciate you. So we have already, folks, gotten lit. We have talked shit, okay? Now it is time for the very last portion of our show where we really just got to bring it home. Because at the end of the day, all that we go through in life is spiritual, right? There is no spot where God is not, right? So, Little Baby Bud said, CMN, the Champagne Ministry Network. I'm here for a 24-hour coverage of you getting your live. Yes. So, Jessica, I just sent you a request. Did you get it? I see you in the comments, laughing in the comments, but you're going to accept that request so you can come in and I can feature you. So anyway, we are waiting for Jessica to come on in. I'm calling her Sister Sangria. That's her name to me, because she is a beacon of wisdom, which you will find out about soon. Jessica, are you getting my request? I just sent it to you. If not, just then send me a request. Either way. All right? So if you are just joining us, we have some new people coming on in. I see you, Ian. I see you, Gail. Stop laughing, Gail. All right, Jessica is going to join us. She sent us a request, and she's coming on in. Joey, at least stop laughing. Hi, come on.
Hi, my love. Hey.
For a lip? You put a lip on?
Girl, a little bit. Didn't want to
Okay.
be too crusty.
You better hit us with it. Sister Sandria. Everyone,
Yes.
Sarah, this is, I want you all to welcome Sister Sangria. That's her name for now. But you might say, I think she's going to be like the resident minister of Moet in the Champagne ministry. So I think that's what's like going to happen because, we just have a great synergy. She's been my sister since college. And
18, yep.
I'm so glad that you are here. Hi,
Hey,
Rachel.
boo. I'm happy to be here. Yes. Janelle was dropping so many gems. I'm like, why am I doing spiritual part? Like, and it's,
Okay, what are you here for?
oh,
No,
oh,
oh, sorry, pardon me. Excuse me, I got distracted. Um, and Tamisha, y'all laughing. Why, we didn't tell no jokes. Why y'all laugh? But it looks like I just realized it looks like I'm nude.
well, I mean,
Sorry.
they know the foolishness is about to start. So,
Yeah, we about to act up. I feel it. So, Jermaine, hi. All right, so we are now in the get lit portion of the show. Uh, I forgot my own show. We're in the feel the spirit
yes.
of our show because all things are spiritual. So, Jessica, when it comes to whiteness, white supremacy, how do you find the spiritual lesson in a system that's so degrading and so brutal and so savage and causes so much death and destruction and hurt and insecurity? Where can we find some inspiration, some motivation, something to keep us going? Can you share any insight that you may have?
Well, I think like as being a black person, obviously there's that kind of genetic memory of it that we feel from our parents' pain, our grandparents' pain. So I think for me, and like I've struggled. I went to a predominantly white university, so we have like different types of struggles with just trying to feel like we should be there and competing with just space. But for me, what supersedes everything is spirituality. So just it's crazy because what Janelle said or Aja is so much in alignment with what I was going to say, which just has to be with like energy. And the epicenter of any signal is where you are.
Mm.
The epicenter of Earth was Africa. So the further we got from that in the essence of just nature, the more disconnected our signal became. So as a society, so into whiteness. So the more disconnected we became, the more hard it was to hear, the more hard it was to convey. So you have, quote unquote, black people here that are yelling, they're screaming, they're crying, but it's not being heard because we're so disconnected from the center. So more than anything, like Janelle said, we have to do the internal work because all of us, we're in skin suits. These skin suits are literally covering the divine energy that we are. At this time on the planet, we're moving into a shift in consciousness and we can see that. So the more closely we identify with the physicality of a skin suit, the more disconnected we become. You know what I mean? We're removed from our center. So our signal, just like your phone and your Wi-Fi, it's not going out. It's not being heard. We're not connecting to each other. So right now we are, and that has to do with bypassing our skin suits. Now we always have to, just like in any abusive relationship, you can't just sweep it under the rug and move on. We have to address it because it's literally, to me, this energy of whiteness is sending a signal to the universe. We are moving up energetically. Like we keep hearing frequency, vibration, we're moving higher. If you think of Earth as a spaceship, if you wanted to, we're moving into a certain part of the galaxy that's higher vibrational. So if you want to go with the, I guess, shift that we're moving into, whiteness has to send the signal to the universe that I still, not whiteness, let's say white people, that I still want to be here on this planet.
Mm.
So it's not our responsibility. We've already spoken. We've already screamed. Once something is known, it cannot be unknown. So ignorance is not always bliss. So we
Ooh.
know it. And so now you have to signal to the universe, I deserve to go with the higher vibrational frequency that the planet is evolving into, or I don't. And
Mm.
right now, like Janelle is saying, I believe that the signal that's being sent is we do want to go. We do want to transcend. And so it's a beautiful thing. But so I think just checking in, doing the inner work and asking, what am I signaling to the universe? And for so long, for the past, at least 400 years, the signal was, I want to stay on this certain level. I want to stay on this obsolete level. I don't want to grow. I don't want to expand. I don't want to be in awareness. I don't want to be responsible for my whiteness. I don't want to be responsible for my privilege. I don't want to have to compete on the same level. And then I don't even want to acknowledge that I'm not competing on the same level. Right. Well, the universe is like, no, it's takeoff time. You coming? And if you are, you have to elevate. And if you're not, then you will be dissipated. You're going to be dissolved because you can't fit, right? You're not going to keep repeating high school over and over and over again. You have to evolve. You're not going to put, when we moved from VHS to DVD, you're not going to put a disc inside of a VHS. It's not going to work. It's obsolete. You're not going to put a floppy disk inside of a Mac. It doesn't work. We've already evolved beyond it. Now you need to catch up.
She said you on floppy disk level and we on Bluetooth.
We're elevate. That's it. That's it.
Evolve or your
or
part,
dissolve.
or
that's it. Because it's just an energy and we're beyond that energy. That energy no longer for life itself. If you look at life itself as one embodiment, this thing, right? It's going against itself if it continues to engage in whiteness. It's literally, like Janelle said, it's literally suiciding itself.
Suicidal.
Because it's not evolving. So right now, the energies that are on the planet, these skin suits that we're all in, I think are more ancient evolved souls that we're literally holding up mirrors to each other for our own breaking point so that we can evolve. So it's easier for this generation actually to be able to be with equality. Go figure. To be able, you know what I mean? So I think we can't, just disregard that we're in skin suits, but we have to acknowledge that the energy inside of these skin suits have said enough and it's time for the earth to evolve. And either you're going with it or you're not. And there's no right or wrong about it. It's just we're evolving and you coming with it. What signal and how powerful is your signal? Because the further you get out of the epicenter, which is Africa, and I'm even talking about nature itself, the more disconnected you've become, the more imbalanced you are, the more imbalanced the systems are. You're literally committing suicide against yourself. Nature won't have it. Mother Earth's not going to have it. The universe isn't going to have it. And we're done screaming. Because when you don't listen, you're not consciously participating in your own evolution, you're going to get there, but you're going to be dragged. And if the universe has to scream, it's going to look like riots. It's going to look like protests. This is because the universe had to scream. This is because you didn't listen to the whispers. This is because you didn't listen to the nudges. Now it's screaming and it's dragging you. So either you're going to come consciously and send a signal of love so that you can evolve and have a presence here, or you're not. But it's already obsolete.
Okay. This notion of this suicidal, hold on, Joey says you're responsible for your own racism. You have been given the tools. You got to work.
Yes.
We can only scream so loud. We can only go on for so long. Either at some point you're going to come to terms with your own psychosis, or you're not.
Yeah.
And you're going to be caught up in the skin suit, which has nothing to do with the invisible soul inside. What is inside of me, what gives me life, the spirit inside me, it's invisible.
Yeah.
It came down somehow, mom and dad, I don't know what happened in that process. That's gross. Like, they came together. But like some way in the universe, like, however it happened with biology and stuff, my soul, your soul, everybody in these comments, you are the one that made it through and came through.
Yeah.
But it was a spirit. It's your soul. It doesn't have, it just came through. We're wearing different outfits, if you will, different colors, if you will, but that has nothing to do with the essence of who we are. I think it's so interesting, the idea of white culture as being suicidal. It truly is. when you think about capitalism, when you think which supports profit over anything, over
Right.
morals, over paying people a living wage, where you don't pay people a living wage, and look
Yeah.
at what happens, right?
Yeah.
Violence, depression, a whole culture where people are scratching to just be able to survive, right?
Yeah.
You look at capitalism in the sense of let's exploit the earth as much as we can and get every little dollar that we can,
Right.
to the detriment, to the death of species, of the ocean, of the whole earth. You're willing to kill everything in your path
Yeah.
for some financial material reward. It doesn't work. You are willing to create a system of racism
Yeah.
simply so that you can be superior and justify being able to cut other people off from resources because you want to hoard them for yourself. So my spiritual lesson is what you feel about yourself, what you feel about yourself
Yeah.
is what you project onto other people. So
Yes.
if I don't love myself when I'm dealing with you, that's how I'm going to treat you. I'm going to attack
Yeah.
you and I'm going to criticize you because I don't love myself, so I don't want you to love yourself, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So James Baldwin said, white people invented the nigger. They invented.
Mm.
And if it's true that your invention reveals you, then who is the nigger?
Oh.
You felt that way about yourself, sis. You felt that way about yourself. So everything that you project onto blackness is what you truly feel about who you are. Okay?
Yeah.
This is why there's such a denial to discuss race. This is why they can't talk about it. This is why they're unable to truly deal with it because it requires facing yourself and
Yeah.
who you are. If your superiority is built on this fake concept of I'm better than you because your skin has more melanin, then you are not able to come to terms with it because it hurts, because what you've built yourself up to be, it ain't shit. You're no different. You're no better than anybody else. You've been hurting people and benefiting from it. And you don't want to look yourself in the face. And I understand it. But for those who are brave enough to deal with it and step into it and face it, we will evolve. We will
Yeah.
evolve. Last quote I want to read is from Toni Morrison. Who are you without racism? Are you any good? Are you still strong?
Mm.
Still smart? Do you still like yourself? So at the end of the
It's my
day,
favorite.
with all issues, it's always spiritual and it all comes down to how you feel about yourself. And how I feel about you, Jessica, and how I feel about Aja and Nicole joining us today is wow. Boy, are we surrounded by a beautiful group of people. And that includes everyone in the comments, from Lauren to Nick to Gail to everyone, Elise. We here are creating a culture. We are creating truth. We
Yeah.
are creating a new vision of how we can live, which is with fun and humor and spirituality and being ignorant sometimes and having and just and enjoying life. And that really is the essence of Champagne Ministry. I said I was going to keep this episode short. It still went on an hour, so that's something I have to work on. Forgive me, everyone. But I want to thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Coco, Nicole. Thank you all for everyone. Today we have gotten lit, we have talked shit, and we have felt the spirit. This episode was Whiteness and Wine, and I want you all to go forward this week, regardless of what's going on in the news, of what's going on regarding race and all that stuff, regardless of Corona. I want you to go forward knowing that nothing outside determines who and what you are. You have the ability in your heart and your soul to create the world that you want to see. So don't rely on nobody telling you what to see, what to feel, what to do. You are the creator because Mother, Father, God is born in you.
Yes.
So you create what you want to see. And I've definitely created what I want to see with all the beautiful people around me. Thank you, Tiffany. I needed this today too. Thank you, everybody. Tune in next week. We're not doing it on Sunday because Sunday is Father's Day, so I'm going to be drinking with my daddy. Okay. So
Hey, Mr.
Saturday,
Chitty.